I remember the sound before I saw them, the soft laugh I'd memorized 100 times. It came from Ryan's penthouse. My pulse kicked against my ribs. "Ryan?" I called. "You said you wanted to talk about the project." No answer. Just another laugh, hers. I pushed the door open. Lena was in his arms, her hands tangled in his hair. The world froze. My breath stopped somewhere between disbelief and nausea. "Lena," my voice broke. "Tell me I'm not seeing this." She spun around, clutching the sheet against her chest. "Ethan, please what?" I stepped inside, heart slamming in my throat. "Explain how my best friend became your lover?" Ryan straightened, guilt flickering in his eyes. "It's not what you think," I laughed, sharp and bitter. "Really?" "Because it looks exactly like betrayal," Lena whispered. "You weren't supposed to find out like this." "Like this?" My voice cracked. "There was supposed to be a better way to watch my life burn?" Ryan ran a hand through his hair. "It just happened, man. We didn't plan it? Don't call me man," I snapped. "You don't get to sound casual while you're stabbing me." Lena's voice trembled. "Ethan, I didn't mean to hurt you. You're too good. Too safe. I needed more." "More?" I repeated, stunned. "You needed more lies?" "More thrill?" "Congratulations, you found it." Ryan took a step forward. "I didn't mean for this to go this far." "You went far enough," I said. "You were supposed to be my brother." He sighed. "You're angry." "I get it." "You don't get anything." My voice shook. "You took the one person I trusted." "For what, love?" Ryan hesitated. "Yes," something inside me cracked. "Then you deserve her." Lena's eyes filled. "Don't say that. Don't make this harder." "You already made it impossible," she whispered. "I'm sorry." "Don't lie again," I said quietly. "You're not sorry. You're satisfied," Ryan muttered. "We tried to fight it, Ethan. It just happened." "You've said that twice," I replied coldly. "Maybe betrayal always just happens for people like you." Lena's lips trembled. "You were drifting away from me. Always working, always tired." "I was working for us," I said. "For a future you didn't want." Ryan looked away. "We didn't mean to break you." "Then why do I feel like you enjoyed watching me fall?" Silence stretched. I could hear the city through the windows, the hum of cars, the life I no longer belonged to. Lena whispered, "Maybe one day you'll understand." I shook my head slowly. "No, one day you will." Ryan frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing you'd understand." I turned toward the door. My legs felt heavy, but I forced them to move. Lena called out, "Ethan, please say something." "Don't just walk away." I stopped at the threshold. "What do you want me to say?" "That I forgive you? That I'll wait until you get bored of him and crawl back?" She sobbed. "Don't make me the villain." "You already are," I said. "But don't worry, I'll wear the scars." Ryan took a step closer. "Listen, you'll thank me one day. You two weren't meant to last." I turned, eyes burning. "And what are you and she? A masterpiece of deceit?" He flinched but said nothing. I walked out. The elevator doors slid shut, trapping my reflection. Eyes hollow, jaw tight. I didn't recognize myself. Outside, the air hit cold and sharp. The city lights blurred, 1,000 stars mocking my pain. My phone buzzed. Noah's name. I ignored it. Then another message. Lena, please don't hate me." "It just happened. The same words, I typed back. "You didn't just happen, Lena. You destroyed." Then I deleted it. She didn't deserve a reply. I sank onto a bench near the curb, staring at the streetlights bending in puddles. Every plan I'd made, our apartment, the ring, the future, evaporated in seconds. A stranger walked by and muttered, "Rough night?" I smiled faintly. Something like that. He shrugged and left. The world kept moving while I sat still, broken but breathing. I whispered, "Too ordinary." "That's what she said." The words stung like acid. "Guess being decent doesn't sell anymore." I looked up at the skyline. The same skyline Ryan and I once dreamed of conquering. Tonight it felt like it belonged to him. But somewhere deep inside, beneath the ashes, something else flickered. Quiet, dark, unformed. I didn't know what it was yet. Not anger, not grief. Something colder. That night I didn't lose a girlfriend. I lost every reason to trust. And I had no idea that the man I was dying to destroy would one day watch his perfect life collapse, piece by piece, exactly the way mine did. I stopped counting the days after a week. Every morning looked the same, gray, hollow, pointless. My apartment felt like a cage full of ghosts with her voice. The knock came again. "Ethan, open up," Noah called. "You can't keep hiding forever." "I'm not hiding," I muttered. "I'm just done." He pushed the door open anyway. "Done with what?" "Life, work. Yourself?" I turned away. "All of it sounds about right." He dropped a paper bag on my table. "You haven't eaten in 2 days." "I'm not hungry," he sighed. "You think starving helps? They took your love, not your worth." I looked at him, bitter. "Easy for you to say. You didn't walk in on hell wearing your face." Noah leaned against the counter. "You think you're the first guy to get betrayed? You're just the first one too stubborn to heal." "I don't want to heal." "Yes, you do. You're just angry it takes effort," I laughed dryly. "Effort?" I gave everything to her, Noah. My time, my trust, my plans. And she gave it all to him. He lowered his voice. Then stopped giving her more. She already took enough. I rubbed my eyes. I can't stop seeing it. Every time I close my eyes, she's there. "Then open them," he said sharply. "Start building something again. Let the pain work for you, not against you." I stared at him. "You sound like Miss Parker." She's right, too. As if summoned by the mention, my phone buzzed. Miss Parker. I almost ignored it. "Answer," Noah urged. "You need that job." I picked up. "Hey," her voice was firm. "Ethan, I've been patient, but you've missed 2 client meetings and 3 deadlines. This isn't you. I just need time." "You've had time," she said. "Now you need purpose. There's a new project, big one. The firm's counting on you." "I can't." "Yes, you can. You will. I'm assigning it personally," I exhaled. "Ms. Parker, I'm not ready to face anyone." "Then face yourself." "The client meeting's Monday. I expect your best." The call ended. Noah grinned faintly. "Looks like you've been drafted back into life." "Feels more like punishment?" He shrugged. "Sometimes punishment saves you." Monday came before I realized it. I stood outside the firm's glass doors, palms sweating. Everyone inside looked alive, focused, moving forward, everything I wasn't. When I walked in, whispers stopped. People stared like I was a ghost returned from exile. Ms. Parker greeted me with her usual calm. "You look terrible." "Nice to see you too. I mean that kindly," she said. "Pain looks good on artists." "Makes their lines sharper," I smirked faintly. "So I'm supposed to thank her for cheating?" "You're supposed to thank yourself for surviving," she replied. "Now sit. We're designing the new Hale Foundation building." The name hit me like ice. "Hale?" "Yes. Ryan Hale's company is one of the sponsors." "Problem?" I forced a steady breath. "No problem," she studied me. "Good. Use it. Use it." Those 2 words followed me for days. I sketched till dawn, drowning every memory in graphite and concrete. The structure that rose from my pain was unlike anything I'd done before. Cold edges, fierce symmetry, walls that dared the world to break them. Noah dropped by one night watching me draw. "You're possessed." "Maybe," he smiled. "You look alive again." "I'm not alive. I'm rebuilding." "Same thing." I looked at the half-finished model under the lamp. "Funny, I used to design homes. Now I'm designing fortresses." Noah tilted his head. "You sure that's healthy?" "Healthy doesn't matter." "Purpose does," he studied me quietly. "You're planning something, aren't you?" I met his eyes. "Not planning, preparing. For what?" "For the day I don't feel small anymore." He nodded slowly. "Just promise me you won't let revenge eat you alive." I smiled faintly. "I won't. I'll feed it until it becomes discipline." He chuckled. "That sounds dangerous." "Maybe it has to be." The room went quiet. Outside, the city lights bled through the blinds, cold, distant, and perfect for someone learning to stop feeling. I whispered to myself, "They took my love, but I still have my fire." That was the first night I didn't cry, and the first night I started to imagine what it might look like, watching them burn with the same quiet flame they lit inside me. 6 months later, the mirror didn't recognize me anymore. The beard was trimmed, the eyes sharper, and the smile gone. I'd stopped trying to look alive. I just needed to look unbreakable. At work, people whispered when I passed.
"He's different," they said.
I heard them, and for once I didn't care. The new project in the Hale Foundation building was complete. And when the award came, I didn't even smile. Applause felt hollow, like clapping in an empty hall. After the ceremony, Ms. Parker approached. "You should be proud, Ethan." "I'm focused," I said. "Pride's a distraction," she smirked. "Then let this distraction wear a tux. You're representing us at the charity gala tonight. Ryan Hale's company will be there." My pulse didn't flinch. "Good. Let him see what he threw away." "Professionalism, Ethan," she warned. "Not personal war. Don't worry," I said. "I fight quietly now." The ballroom shimmered with money and vanity. Crystal lights, velvet suits, champagne laughter, everything fake but polished. I moved through it like smoke, invisible until I chose otherwise. "Ethan Ward," a voice called. "The man of the hour," I turned. Ryan Hale stood there, perfectly tailored, perfectly smug. "Ryan," I said flatly. He extended a hand. "Congratulations. Your design's making waves." I looked at his hand, then his eyes. "You'd know about waves." "You started one that nearly drowned me," he chuckled. Still dramatic. "I didn't come to fight, just to appreciate good architecture." "Architecture's about foundations," I said. "Yours seemed to crack easily." His smile faltered for a second before returning. "You always had a sharp tongue." "Careful, it cuts both ways." "I've learned to use the edge properly." He nodded slightly and walked off. I didn't follow. I'd already won that exchange. I was at the bar when I saw her. Clara Hale, graceful, poised, but her eyes, they looked tired. The kind of tired that came from pretending too long. She stood beside me, waiting for her drink. "Long night?" I asked. She turned, startled. "You're Ethan Ward, right? The architect?" "Sometimes," I said. "Depends on the night," she smiled politely. "Your design for the Hale Foundation was remarkable. It had emotion, something rare in corporate architecture." "Emotion?" I repeated. "Funny, that building came from pain." Her gaze softened. "Then maybe that's why it feels real." For a second, silence hung between us. The orchestra played softly behind the hum of voices. "Do you always talk about pain at charity events?" she asked, a faint amusement in her tone. "Only when I meet someone who looks like they understand it." Her smile faded. "You read people fast." "I study structures," I said. "Some just happen to be human." She looked away, glass in hand. "That's dangerous. You might see too much." "I already have." She hesitated, then asked quietly, "Do you hate him?" I met her eyes. "Ryan?" She nodded. I thought about it. "No, hate is exhausting. I prefer patience." "Patience for what?" "For balance." Her lips parted, but no words came. The orchestra swelled, covering the silence between us. "Your husband throws great events," I said finally. Her eyes flickered toward Ryan across the room, laughing with investors. "He throws everything he can't feel." I watched her. Elegant, trapped, too composed for someone that lonely. Must be heavy carrying someone else's mask. "Sometimes it's safer than taking it off," she murmured. I leaned closer. "Maybe, but sooner or later even masks suffocate." She looked at me then. Really looked. "You're not what I expected." "Neither are you," I said. The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was charged, like standing too close to a flame you shouldn't touch. She set her glass down. "It was nice meeting you, Mr. Ward." "Ethan," I corrected. "Ethan," she repeated softly. Then she walked away, her perfume lingering like unfinished words. I watched her rejoin Ryan. He smiled, touched her back, whispered something that made her laugh without joy. She glanced once over her shoulder and at me, and for a heartbeat I felt it. Not love, not even attraction, just power. The kind I'd never felt when I was begging for someone else's attention. For the first time since Lena left, I didn't feel broken. I felt sharp, controlled, dangerous, and I knew this wasn't the end of our conversation. It was the beginning of something far more interesting. It started with coincidence, or maybe fate, dressed as convenience. Every event Ryan's company hosted, Clara was there, graceful, poised, pretending. And somehow I always ended up near her. "Twice in 1 week," she said one evening at the art auction. "People will start talking." "Let them," I replied. "I like attention when it costs me nothing." She smiled faintly. "You're not the kind who needs attention." "I used to be," I said. "Now I just enjoy silence that listens back." Her eyes lingered on me. You talk like someone who's been burned. I have. You? She hesitated. Burned? No, slowly frozen. I raised an eyebrow. That bad? She took a sip of wine. Ryan loves control more than people. To him, emotions are weaknesses, things to correct. I looked toward Ryan across the room, laughing too loudly with investors. Sounds familiar? Why? Because I used to believe love could fix pride. It can't, her lips tightened. No, it only feeds it. Until you disappear. The orchestra played softly, filling the silence between us. I could hear the exhaustion in her voice, the kind that doesn't come from fighting but from giving up. You shouldn't tell me this, I said finally. I'm not safe company, she smiled sadly. Maybe that's why I feel safe with you. Her words landed heavier than she probably meant them to. I didn't respond. I just let the weight hang there like smoke refusing to fade. Over the next few weeks, we crossed paths again. A conference, a meeting, a gallery opening. Always unplanned, never unwanted. Do you ever get tired of pretending? I asked her once during a break between speeches. All the time, she said. But pretending is easier than explaining why I'm unhappy. You could leave, I suggested. Her laugh was soft, almost bitter. Leave a man like Ryan Hale? He doesn't lose people. He replaces them, I studied her face. And you?
I endure. I wanted to say something, to tell her she didn't deserve that life. But I didn't. Maybe I liked hearing her describe the cracks.
Each confession was a quiet revenge against him. Still, part of me hated myself for enjoying it. At another event, she found me first. You left early last time, she said. Too many fake smiles, I replied. I ran out of polite lies. She laughed softly. You sound like me. I doubt that. Oh, you'd be surprised. She looked around before lowering her voice. Ryan's been restless lately. He's paranoid. Thinks someone's trying to outshine him. Maybe someone is. She tilted her head. You? Not intentionally, her eyes held mine. You don't have to try. You already threaten him by existing. I didn't answer. But I felt a twisted satisfaction forming, not from her attention, but from knowing Ryan was crumbling under a weight he couldn't name. You ever wonder, she asked softly, what would have happened if you and he weren't connected? Then we wouldn't be having this conversation, I said. And you wouldn't be looking for comfort in a stranger. She looked away. You make it sound shameful, is it? I don't know anymore, she admitted. Sometimes I just need someone to listen without judgment. I can do that, I said. But be careful. Listening can turn into wanting. Her breath caught. And do you? I looked at her hand resting near mine. I don't know. Maybe I just want him to lose what he took from me. The silence stretched long. You're honest, she said finally. Painfully so. I stopped lying when I realized lies build the prettiest prisons. She smiled faintly. Then maybe I live in a palace. Then I hope the walls crack soon, I said quietly. Her expression softened. You really don't mean to hurt me, do you? I looked at her. The elegance, the sadness, the quiet strength buried beneath it. No, but I won't deny I like what this is doing to him. She nodded slowly, like she understood more than I wanted her to. And what is it doing to you? I'm not sure yet, I whispered. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Around us, champagne sparkled. People laughed. The world pretended to be perfect. But inside that noise, two broken people found something dangerous. Not love. Not comfort, but recognition. As she walked away, her perfume trailed after her again. Familiar. Haunting, impossible to forget. And I thought to myself, was I helping her or using her to hurt him? Maybe both. It began with small things. A message after midnight, a voice note she claimed was by mistake, a laugh that lingered too long over the phone. I told myself it was friendship. Maybe I even believed it. Still awake? Her text blinked across my screen one night. Architects don't sleep, I replied. We just close our eyes and redesign our regrets. She called me immediately. That's poetic. Or sad. Same thing, I said, smiling despite myself. Why are you up? I couldn't sleep, she whispered. The house feels cold. Ryan home? No, he's never really home even when he's here. I leaned back in my chair. Maybe that's his gift, absence disguised as presence. She laughed softly. You always know how to make pain sound intelligent. I've had practice. A pause stretched. Heavy with words unsaid. Ethan, she murmured. Do you ever wonder what would have happened if we met first? I swallowed hard. I try not to. Why? Because wondering feels too much like wanting. Silence again. I could almost hear her breathing. Good night, she whispered finally. But neither of us hung up for a long time. Days turned into habits. Coffee breaks became walks. Meetings became excuses. Everyone saw it, even Ms. Parker, who warned me quietly one morning, You're walking a dangerous line, Ethan. I know, I said. I just don't know which side I'm standing on. Her reply was simple. The side that burns slower usually burns deeper. I didn't answer. Because she was right. One evening, rain poured like punishment. Clara called again. Are you busy? She asked, voice trembling slightly. Not enough, I said. Where are you? In the car. I couldn't stay at home. Where's Ryan? At dinner. With his image. Come here, I said before thinking. Minutes later, she stood in my doorway, soaked, shivering, fragile in a way I'd never seen her. I shouldn't be here, she whispered. I know, I replied. Come in anyway. She hesitated, then stepped inside. The sound of rain filled the silence between us. You ever feel like the world's watching and you just stop caring? She asked. Every day, I said. Usually before I do something stupid. She laughed softly, tears blending with the rain on her face. Then we're both about to make the same mistake. I handed her a towel. Mistakes are how I build things. I just hope this one doesn't collapse. She looked up, eyes searching mine. You make me feel seen, Ethan, not perfect. Not untouchable, just seen. Her words hit something inside me I'd buried months ago. Careful, I said quietly. You don't know what you're waking up in me. Maybe I do. She stepped closer, close enough that I could feel the warmth beneath her damp skin. My pulse betrayed me, racing against the guilt clawing at my chest. This isn't about him, I said, half to convince myself. Then what is it about? Needing something real, even if it's wrong. She exhaled shakily. Maybe wrong is all I have left. Her hand brushed mine, light, hesitant, electric. I didn't move. I could have stopped it. I should have, but I didn't. When her fingers finally intertwined with mine, the world outside disappeared. No rain, no walls, no Ryan, just the sound of two broken people pretending to heal each other. I didn't kiss her. Neither of us crossed that line, not yet. But the silence said enough. It said we already had. She stayed for hours. We talked about nothing and everything, childhood, dreams, pain, guilt. I learned how lonely her laughter really was. She learned how deep my anger still ran. When she finally stood to leave, I followed her to the door. Thank you, she said softly. For what? For listening. For not pretending, I met her eyes. I don't know what this is, Clara. Maybe it doesn't need a name, she whispered. And then she was gone, swallowed by the rain, leaving only her perfume and a heartbeat I couldn't slow down. That night, I sat in the dark staring at my reflection in the window. I didn't see the man who'd been betrayed. I saw someone else, someone colder, sharper, crueler. And I realized the truth I'd been avoiding all along. I wasn't just comforting her. I was becoming the man Ryan could never be. The morning started like any other. Polished glass, expensive suits and fake smiles dressed as ambition. But underneath something shifted. I could feel it in the air before I saw him. Ryan. He was waiting for me in the boardroom, fingers drumming on the table like a warning. Ethan, he said, voice too casual to be real. Congratulations on the award. Impressive design. Thank you, I replied, keeping my tone even. We're all just doing our best work. Some of us more than others. His smile didn't reach his eyes. You've been busy lately. Productivity tends to spike when people stop wasting time. His jaw tightened. And what kind of time have you been spending with my wife? The words dropped like glass. The room fell silent. I heard my heartbeat before anyone spoke. I leaned back. Clara and I discuss architecture, Ryan. She's been helping with the foundation's charity projects. He scoffed. Don't play innocent. I see the way she talks about you. Maybe you should be flattered, I said quietly. She still talks about you at all. A muscle in his cheek twitched. You think you're clever? I think I'm calm, I said, meeting his glare. That's more than I can say for you. He stood, palms flat on the table. Stay away from her, I smiled. You sound threatened. Threatened? He laughed harshly. By you? By what she feels when she's not pretending. Watch your mouth, he snapped. I'm just telling you what you already know. He slammed a hand against the table, papers scattering. The executive shifted uncomfortably, eyes darting anywhere but at us. Sit down, Ms. Parker said sharply from the corner. Both of you. Ryan straightened but didn't sit. His voice dropped to a growl. You don't know who you're dealing with. Actually, I said, still smiling, I do. I used to respect him. His nostrils flared. You'll regret this. I turned slightly, gathering my papers. Possibly, but not today. Then the door opened. Clara stepped in. Perfect timing. Ryan, she said softly, confused by the tension. What's going on? Ask your friend, he spat. Clara frowned. Ethan? We were just discussing your husband's talent for public diplomacy, I said lightly. Her eyes narrowed. Ryan, what did you do now? I did nothing, he snapped. He's the one keeping your company's project alive, she interrupted sharply. Maybe you should thank him instead of threatening him. The silence that followed was thick, electric. Ryan's face flushed red. You're defending him? In front of everyone? I'm defending professionalism, she said coldly. Something you seem to have forgotten. He turned to her, voice low and venomous. You're humiliating me, she met his gaze. Then maybe stop giving me reasons to. The room froze. No one moved. No one dared to breathe. I stood slowly, my voice steady. We're done here, Ryan glared at me. This isn't over. Of course not, I said softly. Nothing ever is with you. Clara followed me out into the hallway. Her heels clicked like punctuation on a sentence she didn't know she'd just written. I shouldn't have said that, she whispered once the door shut. Yes, you should have, I said. You told the truth. He'll hate me for it. He already does. Just in quieter ways, she looked up at me. You're calm. Too calm, I smiled faintly. Calm people are dangerous. We calculate before we cut. Ethan, she said, voice trembling. You wanted him to see, didn't you? Maybe. Why? Because now he knows what betrayal feels like. I met her eyes. Only this time I'm the one holding the knife. Her lips parted, but no sound came. She just stared, realizing what I'd admitted, and what it meant for both of us. Do you regret it? She asked quietly. I don't know, I said after a long pause. Maybe regret is just the taste revenge leaves behind. She reached for my hand, but stopped halfway. You scare me sometimes. Good, I said softly. That means I'm finally honest. She turned away, shaking her head. Torn between fear and something dangerously close to admiration. As she walked down the corridor, I stayed there, watching the reflection of myself in the glass door. Composed, controlled, victorious. For the first time, I didn't see the man who'd been broken. I saw the man who'd learned to break back, and God help me. It felt good. Amber's words hit harder than any confrontation with Ryan ever could. She stood in my office doorway, arms folded, voice trembling with disgust. You think no one talks, Ethan? Clara deserved to know what this was. I looked up from my desk. What was?
Your little act.
The supportive friend who just happened to hate her husband. I exhaled slowly. It's not like that anymore. Anymore? She laughed bitterly. So it was once. I didn't answer. Silence was my only confession. Amber shook her head. You really thought you could twist revenge into love and call it healing? I never planned any of this, I said quietly. It just happened. People don't just happen to destroy others, she snapped. You're not the victim now, Ethan. She is. The door slammed behind her and I felt the air shift, heavy, suffocating. I knew what would come next. By evening, Clara's message arrived. We need to talk. When she entered my apartment, she looked different, colder, fragile in a way that hurt to see. Her eyes, once full of warmth, now carried distance. Amber told me everything, she said, voice steady but brittle. Clara, she held up her hand. Don't, just tell me the truth. Did you come into my life to hurt Ryan? I swallowed hard. At first, yes. Her lips parted slightly, the color draining from her face. At first? I wanted him to feel what I felt. Betrayal, loss, humiliation. You were never supposed to get caught in it. Her voice cracked. But I did. I loved you. I closed my eyes. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect you. Then what am I to you now? She whispered. A trophy? Proof you won? No, I said, stepping closer. You became the only thing that made me forget why I started this. She flinched. That's not love, Ethan. That's confusion dressed as redemption. Clara, please, don't. Tears glimmered in her eyes. You used me to destroy him, and in the process, you destroyed me too. Her words carved straight through me. I thought you were different, she said softly. But you're just another man trying to fill his wounds with someone else's heart. I never wanted to hurt you. Intent doesn't matter when the damage is the same. I reached out, but she stepped back. Goodbye, Ethan. When the door closed, the silence that followed wasn't peaceful. It was punishment. For hours I sat there, staring at the empty glass in my hand, the city lights flickering against the window. Somewhere down there, Ryan's empire was burning, his investors fleeing, his reputation collapsing under scandal and paranoia, and I couldn't even feel satisfaction. No victory, no relief. Just hollow echoes where vengeance used to live. Noah called later that night. You sound dead, he said bluntly. I might be, I muttered. She left? Yes, a long pause. You knew it would happen. I thought I could control it. You can't control fire by standing in it, he said quietly. You just burn slower. I stared at my reflection in the darkened glass, the suit, the sharp jawline, the cold eyes that weren't mine anymore. Ryan's falling apart, I said. His company's sinking. Everything I wanted is happening. And how do you feel? Noah asked, empty, he sighed. Because revenge doesn't heal, Ethan. It just replaces the wound with a mirror. I thought I was healing, I said, barely recognizing my voice. I was only bleeding on someone else. Noah didn't reply for a long time. Then softly, you can still stop. I don't think I know how. He exhaled. Then learn. Before there's nothing left to save, the line went dead. I sat there in the quiet, the words echoing like a prayer I didn't deserve. Outside, rain began to fall, soft at first, then harder, as if the sky was confessing for me. I pressed my hand against the window, watching the city blur. Each drop that slid down the glass felt like time dissolving. All the nights I'd spent planning, hating, pretending. Ryan was losing everything. Clara was gone, and me? I'd become the kind of man I once despised. Cold, strategic, merciless. The kind who wins the war but forgets what peace even means. The storm outside matched the chaos inside my head. I was reviewing blueprints when the office door burst open. Ryan stumbled in, tie undone, eyes bloodshot, the smell of whiskey sharp enough to sting. Ethan, he slurred. You finally won, didn't you? I leaned back in my chair, steady. You shouldn't be here, Ryan. He laughed, a dry, broken sound. Don't tell me where I should be. Everything I built is gone. The company, my wife, my reputation, all burned. I studied him, silent. You think I don't know? He continued. You think I didn't see it coming? The calls she ignored, the nights she stayed out, the way she smiled when your name came up. I said nothing. My calm only seemed to enrage him further. He slammed a fist on my desk. Say something, damn it! Tell me how it feels to take everything from me. I met his gaze. It doesn't feel like victory. He staggered back, blinking as if my words confused him. No? Then what was the point? To make you understand, I said quietly. Understand what? What it feels like to lose everything because of betrayal. He stared at me, really stared, before a bitter smile twisted his face. So this was revenge. Perfect. I always knew you had that fire under the quiet act. I didn't respond. The silence between us stretched like a wound that refused to close. He sank into the chair across from me, his voice breaking. You know what's funny? I used to envy you, I frowned. Envy me? He nodded weakly. You had something I never did, peace. You believed in people. You trusted them. I wanted that. I wanted to know what it felt like to be pure. The word hit me harder than I expected. He rubbed his temples. I destroyed it because I couldn't stand seeing it in someone else. I wanted what you had, so I ruined it. I swallowed. unsure whether to pity him or hate him. She doesn't love me, he whispered. She loves who you are. My chest tightened. Then maybe you should have treated her better. He laughed again, softer now, almost sad. You really don't get it. Even if I had, she still would have seen you. You, the quiet, patient, perfect Ethan, the man I'll never be. Don't call me perfect, I muttered. He looked up, tears in his eyes. Then what are you? Empty, I said simply. He exhaled shakily. Good. Then we're the same. The way he said it, broken, honest, made the room feel smaller. I've lost everything, he murmured. And I can't even blame you. I did this to myself. For a long moment I couldn't speak. The man who'd once taken everything from me now sat hollow, trembling in front of me. Clara's gone? I asked. He nodded. Filed for divorce yesterday. Said she wanted to start over. Said she couldn't breathe around me anymore. I looked down. Maybe she'll finally be happy, his voice cracked. With you? I hesitated. No, not with me either. He let out a long, shaking breath. Then what was all of this for, Ethan? I don't know anymore. We sat in silence, the rain pounding harder against the windows. His hand trembled as he reached for the bottle he'd brought. I watched him pour another drink, spill half of it on my desk, then lift it with shaking fingers. I used to be the man everyone wanted to be, he said, staring into the glass. Now I can't even look at myself. I finally stood. Go home, Ryan. He looked up, eyes unfocused. There's nothing left to go home to. Then start over, I said quietly. He laughed weakly. You sound like Clara. She was right, I said. He finished the drink and set the glass down, his voice barely a whisper. You won, Ethan, congratulations. No, I said. We both lost. He nodded slowly, as if that truth finally sank in. Then he stood, straightened his jacket, and walked out. Slower, smaller than I'd ever seen him. When the door closed, I stayed still, listening to the echo fade into the rain. The revenge was complete. The empire had fallen, but the satisfaction I'd imagined, the triumph, the justice, never came. All I felt was the quiet ache of something hollow and irreversible. The sound of his broken laugh lingered in my head long after he was gone, and for the first time, I didn't know who I was anymore. The days blurred again, quiet, colorless, heavy. The apartment felt smaller without her laughter, and the silence felt like a punishment I'd earned. I stopped answering calls. Even Noah's voice on the other end sounded distant now. He tried once more, leaving a message. You got what you wanted, Ethan. Now figure out what's left. I didn't. I couldn't. When the doorbell rang that afternoon, I almost ignored it until I heard her voice, Ethan. It's me. I froze. Clara. I opened the door slowly. She stood there, calm, composed, eyes tired but soft. She looked like someone who had cried too long to cry anymore. Can I come in? She asked. I nodded. Yeah. She walked past me, glancing around the apartment. It's quieter than I remember. I haven't had much to say, I muttered. She turned to face me. I didn't come to fight. I didn't think you would. There was a long silence before she spoke again. You both destroyed each other for love that never existed. Her words stung, not because they were cruel, but because they were true. I exhaled. I told myself it was love once. Maybe it was in some twisted way. She shook her head slowly. No, Ethan, it was pain looking for a place to hide. I swallowed hard. You deserved better than this. Maybe, she said softly. But I chose it. I chose you. And I have to live with that. I didn't mean to ruin you, Clara. Her gaze met mine. You didn't ruin me. You showed me who I'd become. And that's worse. I wanted to reach for her, to say something that could make it right. But there was nothing left between us except truth. I saw Ryan, she said suddenly. My chest tightened. How is he? Broken. Trying to start over. Maybe that's what we all need to do. Starting over, I said bitterly. Sounds easy when everything's already burned. She gave a faint smile. It's not easy. But it's possible. I looked down at the floor. You still hate me? No, she whispered. I stopped hating you the moment I realized you hated yourself more. That hit harder than any accusation. I keep replaying it, I said quietly. Every word, every plan, every lie, and I can't even recognize the man who did it. Then stop replaying it, she said. Start rebuilding. From what? From the guilt, she replied. Sometimes guilt is the only honest foundation left. For a while, we just stood there in silence, two people bound by what they broke. She finally stepped toward the door. Goodbye, Ethan. I forced a smile that never reached my eyes. Goodbye, Clara. When she left, I didn't stop her this time. I watched her disappear down the hall until the sound of her heels faded completely. For the first time, I didn't feel anger or loss, only the quiet ache of acceptance. Hours passed before I realized I was still standing in the same spot. Then Miss Parker called. Her voice carried that mix of concern and firmness I hadn't heard in months. Ethan, are you alive? Barely. Then that's enough, she said. Get back to work. I don't have it in me anymore. Yes, you do. You just used it for destruction. Now use it for creation. What would I even build? I asked. Something that forgives, she said simply, because that's what real strength looks like. Her words lingered long after the call ended. I walked to my drafting table for the first time in weeks. The surface was covered in dust, sketches half finished, pens dried out. I picked one up anyway. The first line trembled. The second steadied. The third began to take form, curves, light, openness. Not walls this time. Not armor. It wasn't a monument to pain anymore. It was a bridge. For once, I wasn't designing to impress anyone or to prove anything. I was designing to forgive her, him, and maybe someday myself. When I stepped back and looked at the outline, I saw something different. Hope in structure, peace in symmetry. The revenge had cost me everything. Love, trust, purpose, but maybe rebuilding from the ashes wasn't failure. Maybe it was the only way forward. I whispered to the quiet room. This time, I'll build something that heals. And for the first time in a long time, I believed it. The waves outside my window moved slow, unhurried, like they've seen too much to rush anymore. It's been 5 years since the chaos. 5 years since I stopped chasing ghosts. The town is small, quiet. Nobody here knows my name, and that anonymity feels like peace. I sit by the balcony, watching the second beginning shimmer in the distance, the project that saved me from myself. Miss Parker always said creation heals what vengeance destroys. She was right. Still staring at it? She teases over the phone. I smile faintly. You'd think I'd get tired of looking at my own work. You're not looking at the building, she says. You're looking at what it represents. I glance again at the curved glass facade, sunlight dancing across it. Maybe I am, she laughs softly. So how's life in paradise? Quiet, I answer. Predictable, peaceful. Sounds boring. Exactly how I like it. She hums. Do you ever think about her? I hesitate. Sometimes. But not the way I used to. What about him? Ryan? I sigh. I heard he remarried. Doing charity work now? That surprises you? No, I admit. We were both searching for redemption. Maybe he found his. And you? She asks. I stopped searching. I just started living. Good, she says softly. That's growth, Ethan. When we hang up, the silence feels kind, not lonely anymore. A local boy named Leo jogs by the balcony. He waves. Morning, Mr. Ethan. Morning, Leo, I call back. He points toward the building. They say it glows different at sunset. Is that true? I nod. It was designed that way and to remind people that endings can still be beautiful. He grins and runs off. His innocence makes me smile. There was a time I didn't believe in beauty anymore. I pour myself a cup of coffee and sit down again, watching the sea stretch endlessly. Clara's voice still lingers sometimes, not as a wound, but as a whisper. You both destroyed each other for love that never existed. She was right, but she never saw what came after. If she walked through this town today, she'd see a man rebuilt, not a man erased. A knock on the door breaks my thoughts. It's Anna, one of the young architects I mentor now. Sir, they're waiting for you at the site. I grab my coat. Coming. As we walk along the coast, the building towers above the shoreline, glass, light, and space flowing together. Anna looks up in awe. Why did you name it the second beginning? I pause, smiling faintly. Because forgiveness deserves a monument too. She tilts her head. Forgiveness for who?
For everyone who ever broke something they didn't know how to fix. She nods thoughtfully.
It's peaceful here. That's the point, I say. Peace shouldn't be a memory. The workers finish the final touches. As the sun lowers, the building glows, gold melting into soft crimson. Anna whispers, "It's beautiful." I stay quiet, watching light ripple across the glass. In the reflection, I see myself. Older, calmer, free. I whisper under my breath. She broke my heart. He betrayed my trust. But in losing them, I found myself. Anna glances over.
What did you say?
Nothing, I reply, smiling. Just a reminder. We walk inside where sunlight filters through the open atrium. No sharp edges, no cold steel, only warmth, openness, air. This space feels alive, she says. It's meant to, I tell her. It's what happens when you stop designing from pain. For years, every wall I built was a defense. Every structure, a scream for control. Now, I build to let light in. As the ceremony begins, people gather, strangers, students, locals. I stay at the back, unseen. I don't need applause anymore. The real victory is silence that doesn't hurt. When the speeches end, I step outside alone. The ocean glows orange, waves rising and falling like a steady breath. I whisper to the horizon, "This is what peace feels like. No thunder, no heartbreak, just calm." I think of Clara's smile. Ryan's fall, the boy I once was, furious, fragile, foolish, and I let them all go. I close my eyes, letting the sea breeze brush my face. For the first time, I don't feel like I'm rebuilding from ashes. I'm simply living, because the man I am now isn't shaped by revenge or loss, but by choice, and this time, I chose to become someone I can finally forgive.